everybody. Shenoah Grove here from Texas REIAs. Thank you guys all for joining us. We got a nice size live audience here and excited to be able to share some of the things that we've learned over the almost 2 decades of investing here in Texas real estate. Want to welcome you all, both those of you guys who are in person with us, as well as those of you guys who are online and watching with us. YouTube, podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, you name it, we're there. So no matter how you like to listen and get information, we like to meet you guys where you're at, and that's always changing. So thank you all for those of you guys who are in person. I know you guys have all gotten subscribed to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page as well. This is where you can network in between meetings, and excited to be able to share with you guys some of the different things that we've learned about real estate investing over almost 2 decades of investing here in Texas. So part of the association, we meet every single Tuesday in Austin, Houston, Dallas, or San Antonio. And we get together with other investors. We share best practices. We talk about some of the, pardon me, different ways we can be successful. We talk about some of the different laws that are coming. We talk about some of the different customs, some of the different contracts, and we are always sharing best practices. So excited to be with you guys tonight as part of the meeting, and excited to share some of that knowledge with you guys over the course of the time that we are together tonight. We are the largest association of real estate investor associations here in Texas. So again, Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. And we get together on Tuesdays. We talk about all things Texas real estate and Texas real estate investing. So if you are interested in investing in another state, you're probably at the wrong spot. But if you're interested in investing here in Texas, you're at the right place. So I'm also a licensed realtor and broker in the great state of Texas. License number 0518223. Don't sue me. You guys have all been disclosed to. It's official. I'm also not your realtor. Okay, so and I only have my license for my own investing. I haven't listed a property in probably 6, 7, 8 or more years, and I've been licensed since 2004. I keep my broker's license because I've got a couple of other investor agents that are underneath me, and I always like to make sure that when I'm buying, I know what the value is of what I am buying, because I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see new investors and even some experienced investors make, is they're looking at the wrong comps when they're trying to decide what to offer on their property. So I want to make sure you guys are always working with a great realtor. In order to be successful as a real estate investor, you must have a great realtor on your power team. So, and we have a lot of realtors, and I'm just curious, by raise of hands, anyone else in the room a realtor? Okay, we got a couple of realtors, yeah. So typically anywhere from 5 to 15% of our audience are realtors, and typically they're looking to go from page 2 of the HUD or the closing disclosure document to page 1 of the HUD or the closing disclosure document, and only because that's where all the money is made, right? So excited for you guys who are here joining us and are also investor friendly, and who are also looking for different ways to be able to access knowledge and access information and be successful, not just as a realtor, but also as a real estate investor. And guys, as we go through the presentation tonight, I'm curious, is anyone in here actively working on a deal? Just curious, anybody actively working on a deal? Anybody? Anybody's brave enough? Say it again? Any something, not an investment deal. Anyone actively working on an investment deal? Anybody stuck on something in investing? Any questions about investing? Really? You're not on Zoom. I mean, this is like, it's okay. Like I can literally hear you breathing out there. So you got something? Yes. I've got a microphone up here. You want to? Oh. Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty loud, so I don't know what.
Nope, you need the mic.
Okay, gotcha.
Everyone says that, and then it's like, here's the mic, just take it.
Okay, yeah. So my main issue I've been having is I've been a realtor for about a year now, got into the business and just threw myself into it. I'm trying to get into investing now, but the main issue I'm having is like getting an actual mortgage. I've been brought up with ideas of like a monthly statement loans or debt service coverage ratio loans as well.
Yeah.
But the rates are pretty sky high, especially now. And that's just the main issue I have. So I don't know if you'll have any idea of like creative financing. I've looked into other stuff as well.
Yeah, so you're looking for what kind of an investment property? A buy, fix, and flip, a buy and hold, a homestead?
A buy and hold.
A buy and hold, yeah. So, and then you said you've been a realtor for a year?
Yes.
And then what were you doing before that?
I worked at 24 Hours Fitness.
Okay. So, I mean, the biggest issue probably for you in terms of getting a good loan is what? Someone said income? No? He just started. So what do most lenders like to see? That'd be 2 years tax returns, which really means you got to be working for probably on average at least 2.5 years, and maybe even longer depending on when you file your taxes, right? So that's probably going to be one of your biggest hindrances. How can we help him be able to get a property? How can we help him figure out how to get a property and not be handicapped by some of these mortgage lending laws that are out there and some of these underwriting requirements? What else do we got for him? FHA. Someone said FHA? Yeah, but the lender's still going to want you to be doing what you're doing for at least the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, if you said, like, I'm still at 24-hour fitness, if you said I've just kind of been doing real estate on the side, then you'd have a better shot, ironically.
Right.
But since you left that job and are pursuing a completely different a completely different career, they haven't yet decided on you yet, and it's going to take them about 2 years to decide that. Yeah. What might be some other options for him? Yes. He needs to turn himself into a cash buyer. So that means just pull money out of your wallet. Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry. This is not a magic show. We don't have magic here. I don't have any cards with me. What? Use other people's money. Okay, we're getting warmer. We were getting warmer. Whose money are we going to use though? Because he said he wants to keep it as a rental property, and some of this debt service coverage ratio.
That's the issue.
And listen, it kills everybody. And the reason why is because it's set to a dollar amount that does not, I'm going to try and think how I can equate it, does not work with where the values of our properties are versus where the rents of our properties are. So listen, I have that exact same problem. It's like we've got $15 million worth of real estate, and some banker thinks they're being generous by wanting to give me $2 million for it because of the debt service coverage ratio, right? So you're going to get stumped by that for quite a long time. Now, what's another option? Owner financing, or some. So we use the term buying subject to, or using a wraparound mortgage. So we're going to actually talk about that in a fair amount of detail tonight, because that's going to be the only way, unless you pull out some magic, right, tonight, that you're going to be able to get a property. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time talking about buying subject to, which is effectively taking over someone's mortgage. So for those of you guys who are realtors, you're a realtor, so you know that there are 3 main instruments that are signed at closing that are stamped, notarized, right, and then filed at the county. What are those things? General warranty deed, a promissory note, and a deed of trust. General warranty deed says who owns the property, right? Promissory note is how much is owed on the property, and the deed of trust enforces the promissory note and allows for a non-judicial foreclosure here in Texas. So when you're buying subject to an existing mortgage, i.e. when you're taking over someone's loan, then the deed transfers from them to you. The debt stays in their name, but a new mortgage, what's called a wraparound mortgage, is created that makes kind of the seller, the Wells Fargo, Chase, Citi, Bank of America, lending now to you. And that's probably going to be the best way for you to get a loan, unless rich uncle comes in, unless you're a magician and are able to generate some cash, right? But and we'll go through a fair amount of detail using that strategy tonight, just so you can have some alternative ways to be able to, buy your own house, buy rental property, and even buy and fund your fix and flips, right? So for real estate investors, what most people discover pretty early on is no matter how much cash that they have, they never have enough cash to do all of the deals that are put in front of them. I was just talking to somebody right before the meeting started about...
I'm going to take a seat, by the way, but thank you.
No, you're not taking a seat. No, we're not done with you. Yeah.
Great.
Because we want to give them a round of applause. Do we not?
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So... we'll talk more about what that looks like tonight. And I want to play, for those who are online with us, I want to make sure we get some announcements in about the association.
Would you like to be a real estate investor in Texas? Come to one of our free local meetings to get access to free training, wholesale properties, capital, and power teams. Click on the link below to find a meeting near you and register for free.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who are joining us online, you guys can come and attend in person. Just head over to texasreas.com/live and you can join us. Just want to say thank you for being brave enough to come in here and talk about some of the issues that we face as real estate investors. And I will tell you that even as you get that 2 years on your tax return as a real estate investor, you're still going to, you're still going to hit what I call this investor glass ceiling. So most people who get into real estate think, well, I'm getting out of my corporate job, I'm getting out of my W-2 job, there is no more glass ceiling to stop, there's nothing that's going to stop me now. And that is true-ish, right? And that's true only if you are creative and understand some of these creative financing strategies that we've been using for almost 2 decades now. And a lot of people think, well, I want to get all this, buy and hold property to be able to sit on a beach, to be able to have cash flow, to be able to have mailbox money, to be able to have all this income coming in, right? And what most people realize is that, we're here in Dallas tonight, it takes somewhere between 20 and 40 properties, depending on where in the Metroplex you're invested, to be able to get the level of cash flow that you want to live the lifestyle that you want. And then what most investors don't find out until after they've been investing for a while is how many loans does a lender want to give you? About 10. Who said 10? Yeah. So 10, so I'm gonna look into your future. I'm gonna tell you what it looks like. 10's what you get if you can also walk on water. It's doable, right? I'll give you 10, but you gotta walk a football field on water, right? And not touch, not hit the ground, not hit the water, right? So in truth, it's closer to 4. Most investors start to top out around 4, and then it becomes a struggle to be able to get more. Occasionally, an investor is going to come to 10, but if I'm telling you that it's going to take you somewhere between 20 and 40 properties, what are you going to do to finance the rest? You don't want to go all cash into them, because then that limits your ability to do what? Buy more, right? So now you got to start coming up with some of the creative real estate and strategies really to be able to grow your investment and really to be able to go to that next level. So again, we'll spend a fair amount of time talking about that. That's a strategy that has allowed us to buy many more properties than a bank would otherwise allow us to buy. And that's something I want to make sure you guys walk away from here knowing that you can do in order to be able to purchase additional properties. And we got some more people that are joining us. I want to say welcome to you guys. And again, I'm just curious, is anybody right now working on a deal that they're struggling on? Anybody working on a deal that they're struggling on? Really? Everybody's got this. No problems. Easy peasy. Seller's doing exactly what I want them to do. So is anybody being ghosted by a seller?
In Texas, cash is different from that.
You can ask me a question as soon as you go over to this microphone.
Oh.
Yeah. Everybody welcome this gentleman who does not have a name tag. So what is your name, sir? Charles. Everybody welcome Charles. You guys are a shy group. But Charles is going to take one for the team. What do you got for me, my friend?
I have a question about let me see how I can say it. If you try to do a subject to, how does that actually work? Because I was told if you go into foreclosure, they have 2 years to get their property back.
What? No.
In Texas.
No. Hold on. Are you talking about a property tax foreclosure?
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
That's what I thought you were.
Okay, that's different. A bank foreclosure pretty much is done on that first Tuesday of the month. On a property tax foreclosure, you have 2 different sets of redemption periods. One is an owner-occupied redemption period, and one is a non-owner-occupied redemption period. So the redemption period for non-owner occupant is 6 months. The redemption for an owner-occupant is 2 years. Yeah. So what do you do in those 6 months to 2 years that you own that property? Someone said wait. Come on. What else do you got? Charge rent. Yeah, who said that? Yeah, keep it as a rental property. And then how much do you do in terms of repairs?
But I didn't think you could get the money back for the repairs.
Oh, no. Well, I'll go through that. So that's why I'm asking the question, how much you do in repairs? The answer is as little as possible. Why? Because you're right. You can get some back as long as it's
Don't you get 25?
to safeguard the property, right? And some of the basic maintenance. But if you're putting in my favorite colors in the house, granite and stainless steel, yeah, you're not going to get that back, right? But if you're doing just kind of the basics to make it rentable, right, and bring it up to code from that standpoint, you will get that back. So in the first year, if they redeem, you get 125% of your investment back. So if, for example, you bought a property at the tax auction for $100,000, right, and they redeemed in the first year, you would get $125,000 back, plus whatever stuff you put into the house along the way. But again, you wouldn't get my favorite colors back, granite and stainless steel. Yeah. If they redeem between year, day 366, right, and in the end of year 2, then you would get 50% back, 150% back, pardon me. So if you bought it for $100,000, you would get $150,000 back. That sounds like a pretty good, that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, no one's complaining. Well, I'm telling you the beautiful part of the story, right? I'm giving you the TikTok version. Yeah, it's like, this sounds amazing. I just learned it on TikTok. But the truth is here in Texas, right? And I think I hope you guys are all here because you're, invest here, want to invest here. The truth is in Texas, how many of you guys have pulled the tax late list in Texas? How many of you guys have pulled that list? How many people are on it?
It's a lot.
A lot.
They have a lot of different counties.
A lot of different counties? Like how much is a lot? Give these people an idea.
One county might have 4, one county might have 16, one county might have 20.
No. There's like 20 to 30,000.
Well, I'm saying they're every Tuesday though. That's where I'm coming from.
No, it's first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's every
first
Tuesday of the month. But that's what I'm talking about by the month.
Yeah, so, I follow. So there will be 20, 30 or more thousand people that are on the tax late list, right? So, in fact, one of the properties that we bought in Fort Worth, they were 10 years behind before the letters got strong enough for the seller to ultimately sell that property. When we bought it, the entire payment went to the county to pay those taxes, okay? Now, I think the problem is that most investors experience is that none of those properties, very few of them, very, very few of them, rarely, if ever, make it to the auction. So that's why you're saying 3 or 2 or 4,
no,
right?
I was saying that's like for right now, the county that I was looking in, it was only like 20.
20, yeah.
And they usually get canceled. That's why I was wondering about.
And they usually get canceled.
A subject
so
to.
What happens is another investor gets there before the auction, right?
Exactly.
So your job isn't to it's kind of like, I don't want to, this is going to sound harsh. Do I have your permission to say what's on my mind? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes that auction list I'll see at the auctions kind of as a little bit of the lazy way to invest, right? You got to get there before it gets to the auction. That's why a good portion of these are pulled off. Another portion of these are pulled off due to bankruptcy or getting a loan from one of the many attorneys' offices that will give you a loan at basically 20% interest and pull you off. Or even if there's an underlying bank loan on it, sometimes the bank will come in and save the day right at the last minute as well. So what I find is a lot of new investors get really annoyed and burnt out by using this cool TikTok. Hey, you can make all this money at the auction. And it's like, oh, well, in reality, it's not, the dance just isn't as fun. Like it just doesn't work out like that. So you can continue to pursue that strategy if you want to make very little money.
I was trying to figure out the subject 2 part. That's why
so the subject 2 part, So when you're buying subject 2, usually we're reinstating a mortgage loan, not a property tax loan. When a property tax loan is due, it's usually like all of it and now is good and so is now. So when you're buying subject to on a mortgage, you don't have to pay the entire mortgage off. You just have to reinstate whatever they're behind. On the tax side of that, you're not seeing that option unless, again, they have an underlying mortgage that might be current maybe. And then all that they're behind is the taxes. So you could reinstate the taxes and still buy the house subject to the existing mortgage, assuming there is a mortgage.
And then you would be having to pay the mortgage too, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only
So-
if you want to keep it.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. A round of applause for Charles for being so kind to come up here and chat with us. Who else is working on something or has a question about real estate or has been watching TikTok videos and got excited, but then the execution's kind of implementation's kind of falling down? Anybody? Nobody? Come on. All right. Yeah. What's your name?
My name's Delonte.
Delonte. Everyone say hello to Delonte. All right. I think we could say hello a little bit warmer than that, like give him a round of applause. Yeah. Hi.
Okay, so I am completely new to real estate. I'm just a young man just trying to get some information.
Awesome.
Basically, I had thought of like a little layout of how I want to go about the situation to invest in my first property. I still haven't bought a home yet. I keep hearing about a first home buyers plan and things like that. I'm not sure if you can use that for real estate, but
Yes, you can. Yeah.
basically, is it realistic to start off as, you know, investing in something like a duplex so that way you can have rent taken care of, and then that way you might be able to completely focus your time on real estate? Or like, basically, where would you start? What kind of books do you need to read, and what do you need to do?
Okay, so that's a great question. So, you know, I'm hearing, you know, an attraction to the house hacking model, right? So that's buying the duplex. If any of you guys will go to the Texas A&M Real Estate Center and just look up the number of housing permits for duplexes, you'll find that about 90% of the duplexes that are out there were built in 1984, basically. There's a big spike and then it came down and it's kind of been bouncing around on the bottom ever since. We're not building, we're building some of that asset class. We're not building a whole lot of that asset class these days. Again, I know it sounds, you know, sexy when people talk about it on YouTube and TikTok and all these other things, but the reality is, you know, for you, for me, for any investor, I want you guys to be strategically agnostic. I want you guys to be opportunistic. I want you to look at every opportunity out there and not very early on kind of put up walls that make you only look for a certain type of opportunity. So from that standpoint, you know, if the first deal that you run into just happens to be a duplex, then fantastic, great, yeah, go that route. But if the first deal you run into is a 70% of ARV minus repairs that has you making $80K on a flip, yeah, no, I would do that too. Nothing's getting kicked out of bed that has a dollar sign in it that's making money, right? So I would just be completely open in terms of the different strategies that you use, and then I would, you know, So, you know, the issue that we have as a first-time buyer, any buyer, and we talked to another buyer up here earlier, is getting those tax returns in order, right? Having that good credit score, having a good down payment, or being able to understand some of these creative strategies that we use as real estate investors. Again, for example, buying subject to. But I would also say, and this is to all of you guys, sometimes I hear one of the biggest fears is the money fear, right? And I will tell you, and I'm sure we have, are there any lenders in the room? Any lenders in the room besides me? Okay, a couple of lenders in the room. If you got a good deal, right? Happy to lend, yes? Sir, you in the back, if I bring you a good deal, you're happy to lend, right? Yes, the money is there for good deals all day long. Now, the money that they have, I'm assuming, is going to come at hard money rates, and it's going to come at short terms, right? So they typically want their money in and out in a roughly 6 months. Sometimes they'll give you a 3-month extension. They're going to charge you points again, which don't worry about what it costs you, look at what it makes you. But in those loans that they have, for example, they're looking for a short turn on their money, and they're looking to bring it back in. Is that roughly what you're looking for, sir? Yeah, and then yep, same thing, yeah. So for those, all of your fix and flips easily funded. You got at least 2 people in the room, and then a lot of other shy people also in the room who aren't saying anything right now.
Y'all are lenders for fix and flip, like when you fix and flip a house and things like that of that nature? Okay. And
Yeah.
then what about the wholesaling market, as far as where would you start if you want to become a
So
wholesaler?
if you're brand new, you're looking to generate quick income, driving for dollars, door knocking, door knocking the foreclosure list, door knocking the notice of substitute trustee sale, door knocking the 30, 60, 90-day late list, bandit signs, and know that bandit signs are not always legal depending on what city and which county you are in. So I would always put a number that you may not want to keep forever on there. And then of all of the marketing that I do, there's no branding for your name, your website on those bandit signs. Because the county, sometimes when they call you, they're not always in the best mood. They woke up on the wrong side of the bed and they want to give you a fine. So those are some of the things that I would recommend. I'd also recommend getting very familiar with what we call the TREC contract. So for those of you guys who are unfamiliar, the TREC contract can be found, just Google TREC, T-R-E-C. And then you'll pull off all of the contracts that are important to use in that category. And then you need, and my guess is, even though we only have 2 lenders in the room, my guess is that everyone in this room is also a buyer. So lots of buyers for your deals, right? That's pretty straightforward, and that's one of the reasons why we have the Texas REIAs Facebook page, so that stuff can happen 24 hours a day. So yeah, thank you. Great questions. Thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. So kind of excited to have a special guest with us tonight. So how many of you guys, I'm just curious, just by show of hands, have seen Houses Flipping People, the YouTube show? Okay, 1, 2, okay, a couple of you guys. All right, well, guess who we have here tonight with us? We have the host of Houses Flipping People, Olivia Hathaway. So just wanted to share a little bit about what Houses Flipping People does and how you guys could be part of it, and also just showcase your deal. So the story of Texas REIAs is really the story of its members, and Houses Flipping People really works through and showcases those members. So Olivia, you want to tell them a little bit about you and what you do as well?
Hey guys, I was sitting on your guys' share not that long ago. It does happen. It is real, okay? I'm a full-time real estate investor, and I do get driven all over Texas right now. Interview you guys' story, how much has real estate transformed their lives. So I'd love to have you guys on my show and to interview you guys to see how much real estate is transforming and have already transformed you guys' life.
Awesome. And then I think we've got this guy right here.
Houses Flipping People is sponsored by Texas REIAs, the largest network of real estate investor associations in Texas. So if you have even the slightest interest in investing in real estate, come to one of our local free meetings to learn how. Click on the link below.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing and coming up to talk to everybody. So the show is a little bit different than most shows you might see on HGTV, for example. So most shows on HGTV focus specifically on the transformation of the house. Houses Flipping People really focuses on the transformation that a person goes through. So I'm often asked what I do for a living, and I love to be able to tell people that I help people quit jobs that they hate so they can do things that they love. Does that resonate for any of you guys in here, right? And I'll tell you that it feels amazing as I get to help people as they go through that transition. And the story of Texas REIAs is the story of the Texas REIAs members. And I know Olivia would love to film your story. She's got the Houses Flipping People Sprinter van. I don't know if you guys saw it parked out there, but it's a great opportunity to be able to showcase your story. And in fact, many of the stories we've already showcased include Flavia, for example. She was a baker, and then March of 2020, she lost her entire business. So she decided she was going to go do real estate, and 15 houses later, she's a full-time real estate investor. Jeff was a Fortune 500 executive and then moved into real estate full-time. Mike and Vanessa started out as contractors and actually were doing a lot of projects for us, a bunch of $60,000, $100,000 renovations, and then said, man, we want to grow beyond that. They just recently did a house. They made about $2 million of profit on it. So it was a $5 million flip. Rosie and Roger, so I know we have some realtors in the room. They started out as realtors. Now they are very opportunistic about which deals they do. They're doing both investor deals as well as their realtor work. Chris was a therapist. Now she's a builder and a real estate investor. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of some of the different ways that real estate can change your life. So when we we'd be honored to be part of your journey as well. So that is this part of the presentation, guys.